All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's show. I feel like we haven't streamed in a while, but we just streamed last Saturday. Was trying to do a lot more video content this week, but we are live. Welcome to the show tonight. Lots to talk about. I know we haven't gone live in a while, but tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we will be reacting to a little bit of the legendary Kanye West Tucker Carlson interview. That'll be fun. But first, I want to talk a little bit about Vladimir Zelensky's, or I guess you could say, I mean, we've been calling him the Vogue magazine president as of late. Well, the president of Ukraine is basically now calling on the West to do something that is is just insane. We'll show you that in a second. We'll be talking about the retirement of Rhino Ben Sasse and lots of other stuff. So let's get right into it, okay? Before we go into the Kanye Tucker debacle, want to let more people pour into the stream and whatnot first. So want to talk about this to start off, and I feel like this is actually quite important. But before we begin, forgot to tell you this, okay? Remember to leave a like on the stream if you have not. But they are watching us from Wake County, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the state of Massachusetts and Missouri. So shout out to y'all from there. Josh Pate actually gave me that idea. So, I'm casually ripping off this quite popular college football commentator, and no one actually notices it. But, let's take a look here. So you have again, you think maybe I'm exaggerating, right? Because every escalation of the war, we always say is going to cause World War III. Well, NATO, putting Ukraine in NATO, that's asking for World War III. Sending arms to the border of Russia is asking for World War III, this and that. Well, if you think I'm exaggerating, if you think this is hyperbole, let's let the Vogue magazine president speak in his own words here. So we have Ukraine Zelensky calls on NATO to launch, quote, preemptive strikes against Russia to eliminate the possibility of a Russian nuclear strike. Okay, let's play the video in case we're being accused of. So again, here's what he says. What should NATO do? Eliminate the possibility of Russia using nuclear weapons. Because that's not insane.
НАТО. Унеможливлювати застосування Росією ядерної зброї.
Oh, my bad. I just realized the thing right here is probably blocking the text. That's smart. Hold on, let me see if I can. Okay, you guys can see it from here. All right, we'll play it this way then.
Що повинно робити НАТО?
What should NATO do? Eliminate the possibility of Russia using nuclear weapons.
Унеможливлювати застосування Росією ядерної зброї. Але, що важливо, я ще раз звертаюсь до
I once again appeal to the international community. We need preemptive strikes. Again, according to the Vogue magazine president, by the way, you're not allowed to criticize this guy at all, right? If you criticize this guy, you are a Putinist, you are an anti-American traitor, you're guilty of treason, you probably should be thrown in jail, quite frankly. Anyone who calls for peace or diplomacy, we made a video on that this week, but anyone who calls for peace or diplomacy, Elon Musk says, well, why don't we reach a reasonable compromise? No, you're actually a Putinist, okay? You're actually a Putinist, you're a horrible person, and you're not allowed to criticize this guy. So again, this is like the infallible take. This is, when you really think about it, he's a lot like today's like Martin Luther King or something to the left. I mean, truly, because what is the case about MLK? Even though he was a communist and an adulterer, and all, you can't criticize the guy. He's a living deity or whatever. Well, again, this is what you're being asked, not just to support with your tax dollars, but again, any call for diplomacy, any statement that this is a little bit insane. I don't think we should be trying to go to nuclear war with Russia. Again, if you disagree, you are a Putinist, you are unpatriotic, and you cannot criticize this guy. So again.
Щоб вони знали, що з ними буде, якщо вони застосують.
So that they'll know what happens if they use nukes and not the other way around.
Навпаки, чекати ядерних ударів Росію, щоб потім сказати, ах, так, ну стримай від нас. Переглянути застосування свого тиску. Ось я вважаю, що повинно робити НАТО. Переглянути порядок застосування.
Okay, so I mean, serious discussion here. I don't like the idea of Russia using nukes, obviously, tactical or not. It's just like, why? Like that's you're like, yeah, I actually agree. If Putin were to do that, you're asking for World War III, and that's not like a smart thing for him to do either. But, just because they've kind of like, I guess, flirted with the idea of it, do people really believe that he is going to go to the point of using a tactical nuke in Ukraine? I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Like, I didn't think this invasion would happen to begin with, to be fair to me. So, but does anyone really genuinely believe that, like, Putin, he's fighting this war, blah, 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 this and that. He's escalating it. He's not, say what you will about Vladimir. He's not an idiot. Okay. I think he knows that's just going to end badly for So anyways, but the basic premise is, because we supposedly think that Russia is going to use nukes, which, there's not really actually evidence of. I mean, I know they keep saying this again. I mean, where is it happening? I can guarantee you, though, that if we airstrike Russia, that is going to result in the use of nukes. That is going to result in nuclear war. You know what I mean? So the Vogue magazine president wants to usher in global Armageddon instead of, I don't know, coming to the table, wanting to negotiate, or at least want to just fight this war out. Okay. But again, you're not allowed to criticize this guy at all. Are we the only ones, guys? Are we the only ones who look at this and we're like, this is legitimately insane? This is psychotic. Like, this is deranged. There's no other way to put it. But again, can't criticize the guy. Okay, according to the libtards of Twitter and whatnot, you are unpatriotic to say, no, actually, I don't think we should try to airstrike Russia's nuclear arsenal. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. No, actually, like, that's. Remember, we are the radical and fringe ones or whatever. So, anyways, just wanted to start off playing that just to let you know that the people in charge of the West. I mean, this guy basically is running United States foreign policy at this point. Anything he asks for, anytime he comes to ask them for anything, they always give it to him. So anyways, just an update on Ukraine. Just an update. This is what they're doing. So, anyways, with that said, we will get into the Kanye West interview, because I think that's what people really want to see. So let me open it and then we'll talk about it. We'll contextualize it.
Tonight, okay. Kanye West, now known as Ye.
Okay. All right, we got the screen up. We got it up on the screen. Okay, so Kanye West. I'm sure you guys have seen by now, but this week Kanye has been stirring a lot of news. I don't know. It's funny. He'll like every few months, whenever he like, I don't know, it just goes in the cycle. He'll suddenly go out and be like totally right wing, and then he just disappears, and then he comes back and he's like this based right wing maniac again. It's kind of funny. I don't know what else to say about it, but so this week at the Paris Fashion Week, he came out and he wore a White Lives Matter shirt with Candace Owens. And he posted, last I checked, he was basically going out and saying that Jared Kushner, he was calling him Josh Kushner for some reason, but I think he means Jared Kushner, saying that Jared Kushner ruined the Trump administration. Okay, so, I mean, who would have thought, right? Meanwhile, you have Fox News and the RNC. I don't know, you guys get those RNC emails promoting Jared Kushner's new book. Look at my new book. Me and my father-in-law, we saved America or something, when we all know Jared Kushner was probably the single worst person to be in the entire Trump White House. I mean, I know you could probably say John Bolton, but Trump also knew that John Bolton was a neocon and never really listened to him all that much. Jared Kushner was someone with influence, was someone who got stuff done. And we all know, again, the worst part of the entire White House actively discouraged Trump from pushing harder right immigration policies. He was responsible for that criminal justice reform disaster, by the way. Okay, optical disaster, just an entire disaster. We know this story, okay? But it's very interesting because Kanye went on just like base schizo. I don't know. I really don't know what to say about it or what to think about it, other than it was Kanye. Okay. But he went on this this rant talking about White Lives Matter with Candace Owens, and then he went so far as to say that Jared Kushner ruined the Trump administration, which, you know, again, it's Kanye West. He's just like everyone's favorite schizo rapper, but that is a take that is better than the majority of the GOP, and it's just very interesting stuff. So anyways, I don't know, crossovers we did not expect to see in 2022. Here is Tucker Carlson interviewing Kanye West after Paris Fashion Week. All right, and lots to say about it. I'm just gonna play this segment of the interview, and we will react to it. And I don't know what else to say about it. Okay.
Is one of the best-selling musical artists in the world. He's also in recent years become a celebrated and very highly paid fashion designer.
Yeah, exactly. I again, he's Kanye. That's all there is to say. He's the Florida man of hip hop artists. That's actually a very good way to put it. That's a very good way to put it. Yeah, I don't know. I will say about this interview though. Okay, so I did watch this section of the interview. This is the first time I will admit I actually thought Kanye made perfect sense. Okay, I will say that because I get it. I'm not based. I'm not like just high IQ enough. I'm not of the higher echelon whatever to understand just the great genius of Kanye West. But I'm gonna be completely honest. Most of the interviews I've seen of him, I don't know what he's saying, and I'm trying to understand what he's saying. I'm trying to like get on the train because it's like he's a schizo, but he's our schizo or whatever. I historically have never found him intelligible. Okay, so I watched his presidential announcement speech. I didn't know what was going on. I watched him at the White House in 2018 or whatever. Didn't know what was going on. Kanye West makes perfect sense here for the most part. So let's watch it, and I'll just give thoughts as we go. Okay, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to say other than it's Kanye West. Okay,
creative people tend to. That's why they're artists, not actuaries. His freeform social media posts give the impression of a man channeling his rawest emotions right onto Instagram. The effect can be jarring, and it's often used as ammunition against him in the battle for influence over the minds of America's young people. And that battle is intense. But crazy? That was not our conclusion.
Let me make the screen bigger. We can watch it here.
So honestly and so movingly about what he believes. But again, you can judge for yourself. Here it is. So you just came from Paris Fashion Week. You just landed, and the lanyard's still on from it, and there's a photograph on it. What is that?
It's a photograph of a baby's ultrasound.
Why is that? And that you designed that?
Yes.
Why? What does that mean?
It just represents life. I'm pro-life.
Based.
Well, so you wear it on a badge. What kind of response do you get? And good, amen. I agree.
I don't care about people's responses. I care about the fact that there's more Black babies being aborted than born in New York City at this point. That 50% of Black death in America is abortion. So I really don't care about people's responses. I perform for an audience of one, and that's God.
So true.
I'm starting to see why they want to make you be quiet. When did you start to feel
so true? So again, you know, like I said, half the time when Kanye West says anything, I don't know what he's saying. I pretend sometimes to know what he's saying because I'm just like, haha, it's Kanye. But in this, perfectly articulate, perfectly rational. Okay, it was an A to B straight line answer. He's pro-life. More babies aborted than born in New York City, and he bows to no one except God. You know, good response. I don't know what else to say. I'm really just gonna let this play for itself. I don't know what else to say. Other than it's Kanye. Okay, it's Kanye. I don't know what to say beyond that. And it's good that I guess one of America's, actually I should say probably America's biggest celebrity, arguably, but one of America's biggest celebrities right now is doing this. I don't know what else is.
Way. When did you start to realize this?
I really felt like, I think I started to really feel this need to express myself on another level when Trump was running for office, and I liked him.
Yes.
And
by the way, let me just point this out, okay? Like, you know, do I think that Kanye generally has a few screws loose. Maybe, okay, maybe I guess. I mean, I think part of it is just like that's his eccentric kind of persona or whatever. But the whole idea that Kanye West is like crazy or bipolar, maybe he is to some extent. But do you really mean to tell me that he is that much less? I mean, he's like that much crazier than every other rapper out there. Like I don't really know rappers. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really a big rap head, but like I don't know who's a rapper. Travis Scott. Are we gonna the guy who like everything he does is satanic? Like the entire theme of I'm not gonna get into the conspiracy theories, but objectively, the entire theme of Astro World is literally like satanic symbols and whatnot. And the guy seems to be a very scumbag person. I don't know, but is Kanye West that much crazier, quote unquote, or whatever, than Travis Scott or Lil? Actually, I don't know. I don't know rappers who are rappers these days. Eminem. I don't know. Well, here's another example, right? What's the real difference between? Actually, I think they're good. They're easily comparable because I think they have similar personalities. Eminem and Kanye. What's the difference between them, other than one of them is white and one of them is black? See, Democrats are the racist. Just kidding. But Eminem's like a libtard, right? He did this whole like anti-gun thing and whatnot. But like fundamentally, they kind of structure. They have the same sort of like eccentric, weird personality or whatever. How many people ever go and say that Eminem has screws loose or he's crazy or whatever? Okay. Are they really that different from each other, other than the fact that one of them is white, obviously, but you don't hear anyone saying that. Why? Because Eminem said like F Trump or whatever, and Kanye West is right wing, I think. So Lil Nas X. No, exactly. That guy, Lil Nas X, is clearly mentally ill. Okay. He's an unstable individual, but no one ever says that he's crazy or whatever, right? So it's just all the point being, I don't think Kanye West is the most normal person. Okay. I'll admit that. I'm not going to pretend like I understand what he's saying or doing half the time. But objectively speaking, he's a much smarter guy than most of the other rappers out there. Like Kanye West actually like went to school and stuff. His parents are educated and whatnot. The idea that I'm not supposed to take this guy seriously, but Lil Nas X, yes, very serious. Travis Scott, I don't know what other rappers are the hooligan kids listening to these days. But
Every single person in Hollywood, from my ex-wife to my mother-in-law to my manager at that time to my so-called friends / handlers around me, told me like if I said that I like Trump, that my career would be over, that my life would be over. They said stuff like people get killed for wearing a hat like that. They threatened my life. They basically said that I would be killed for wearing a hat. I had someone.
That's true, by the way. I remember like some gang, the Bloods or something. Didn't someone literally like put out a bounty on Kanye West's head or something? I do think I remember that happening.
Called me last night and said anybody wearing a White Lives Matter shirt is going to be greenlit, and that means that they're going to beat them up if they wear it. And I'm like, okay, green light me then.
So true. So let's go, King. Yes. Green light me then. It's so true.
God builds warriors in a different way. I don't know if it's because of me being born in Atlanta and growing up on the south side of Chicago that, he made me for such a time like this. It's like with David, he tended to the sheep, but while he was out there, he had to fight all kinds of animals. So when it was time for Goliath to come, he thought because he was a sheep herder that he didn't have the skill set to take down Goliath. And the thing that I have is the position, I have my heart, but the number one thing is we have God on our side. And for the people, even if you don't believe in God, God believes in you.
So, I'm not going to endorse saying listen to Kanye West for anything theologically speaking. I think he has espoused some views in the past and associated with people who are false teachers that I'm like, don't make him your arbiter of Christian advice. But he does make a good point there, which I think is really so true, which is the way in which God can use work and hard work to sanctify us, right? Um, and I think this is something I've kind of experienced in my own life too, which is that um, the times when I feel that it's actually easier to draw closer to God and live a more Christ-like lifestyle, quote unquote, has kind of always been when I'm actually like, you know, being useful and working hard and not, just being, lazy, doing nothing all the time. And it's very true. Like work sanctifies us. And I think that he does make a good kind of inspirational point, which is that, whatever kind of place God has put you in right now, if you don't feel like it's the most flashy or fun, or you feel like you're just wage slaving away, I think in the end it has some type of purpose, and it's teaching you something. Work sanctifies us. It's true.
So you made reference to the White Lives Matter T-shirt, which you brought out at Paris Fashion Week.
Yeah.
Why did you do that, and what did it mean?
I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance. Like as if you ask like Tanya Harding how she did the triple flip or the triple spin. She was in so much practice that when it was time for her to skate in a competitive format, it just happened. Like it happened outside of practice. It happened in the real format, and that's what's happening. It's God is like preparing us for the real battles, and we are in a battle with the media. Like
so true.
The majority of the media
so true.
A godless agenda, and the jokes in that work and this whole like, oh yeah, he's crazy and all these things, they don't work because the media has, they've also watched travesties happen, just even specifically to me, and just watch it and act like it wasn't happening, and they stay quiet about it.
What are they?
I want to answer the white.
Yeah.
I feel like someone caught what I was saying, the comparison to Tanya Harding about the White Lives Matter. My dad is a educated.
No, good question. I couldn't tell you.
Ex-Black Panther, and he put a text to me today. He said, "White Lives Matter, ha 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 ha," and I said, I thought the shirt was a funny shirt. I thought the idea of me wearing it was funny, and I said, "Dad, why do you think it was funny?" He said, "Just a black man stating the obvious." Yeah. And my dad doesn't listen to rap music, and
I don't have much to say about this. Like, I don't know why are you just letting it play? Like, I don't really have a commentary. It's just, it's Kanye West. All right. It's Mr. Ye. What else? What else is there to say?
Like super educated. We opened up a water distribution center in the Dominican Republic together. He's like the original Steve Jobs, but he was getting.
All right, you got that, guys. Kanye West's father is the original Steve Jobs. Cannot verify this, cannot corroborate this, but sources are saying this. Many are saying this, that Kanye West's father is the original Steve Jobs. I think, and that would that make Kanye the original Beethoven? I'm not really sure.
Blocked every which way with all of his ideas, and he didn't have an endless bank account, and he didn't have an Instagram. So all these ideas, he had to like take them back and compress them. Like my dad is the most brilliant person that I know, and we actually have.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little. This part isn't really that relevant.
How fashion wants to how they want to present her.
Oh, here, actually, here's a
Pulled
good
her
point.
away,
Wait,
much
hold on.
like, Kim is a Christian, but she has people who want her to go to Interview Magazine and put her ass out while she's a 40-something-year-old multi-billionaire with 4 black children. And this is how fashion wants to, how they want to present her. So I know you give these questions, and I give you like these 3-part answers.
So, I mean, I think in all fairness, what Kim Kardashian does, I mean, I don't know. I would dare to say I don't think she's a Christian, but yeah, I don't think it's that she's being manipulated into anything. I think she willingly, knowingly does all of that stuff. Okay, so I will push back against that, but I will say that I think Kanye's sort of thing about female modesty ever since his Christian arc or whatever, it's been pretty on point. But I don't know. It is. I mean, what he is saying is true. But I don't know. Whatever.
Is this a cool format for you?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, cool.
And I am following it.
All right.
True.
So you said that your father said when he saw the shirt "White Lives Matter," it's great to see a black man stating the obvious. So, by which I think you meant that's obviously true.
Yeah, that's my favorite response, because I kept on thinking, like, people, they're looking for an explanation, and people say, well, as an artist, you don't have to give an explanation, but as a leader, you do.
Yes, I think that's right.
So the answer to why I wrote "White Lives Matter" on a shirt is because they do.
So true. So true, champ.
Why do you think that's?
Let's go, Mr. Ye.
And I assume the implication is, of course, all lives matter because they're lives, because God created them.
Yeah.
Why do you think that would be considered controversial?
Because the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black and the vernacular that we're supposed to have. My dad grew up as a military brat, and his family moved around, but they were based mostly in Delaware. And at the time,
I kind of want to speed this up slightly. So I'm just like, he just drags out so long.
If they weren't the only black family, they were one of the few. And he would be discriminated against because he was black. So by the time he got into college, he would be discriminated against. He went to a black college, he would be discriminated against because they said he talked too white.
Yes.
And then he played the kick drum in the band. So when he would go
they said he talked too white.
And the music was playing, where would he clap his hands? Where the kick drum is.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite of where everyone else was clapping their hands. And this is the most elegant and tasteful person that I know.
Real.
And when my mom, when the school suggested, like, the herding systems, because what they do is take the black community and they separate them.
Not everyone is Ben Shapiro. Well, because this is like the boringer part. We don't. Do you guys care to listen to him talk about his dad? Clearly not, because every time he goes on these tangents about his dad, people leave. I keep seeing it drop every time Kanye gets boring. So you can't cut on my attention span. It's clearly your attention span, okay? Like, I'm trying to.
And they separate the families, and the educated, they push this, need for higher education, and us as blacks, we discriminate against each other and say, well, I got my PhD and you don't have your PhD, so I'm better than you. And so my mom, she had a PhD.
So I don't know. I'm basically memeing at this point, but it's kind of true. The based takes from Kanye West so far: pro-life, pro-Trump, kneeling to God alone, being pro-female modesty, and anti-intellectual. What a king. Our guy. Let's go. It's so true. Yes, let's go, Kanye.
And she was influenced to
Based.
moved to the south
Oh,
side.
and it's so true. And speak proper English, okay? Speak proper English and stop eating the hot chip. Like this is what a based individual. He gets it.
Chicago and take this job at Chicago State University. And she told my dad, if you come for us, you know, you'll never see him again. Because, you know, the media ridiculed me for getting.
Vince, he's good friends with Joel Osteen, if you want to know, which is very bad. Well, I know that. That's why I said don't listen to him for Christian advice. I'm aware of that, which is why I don't get on the ridiculous train of like the Kanye propping up. He's our guy. He's pushing Christianity. He's pushing conservatism. Like he's hitting on those notes, which is good. But you know, that's part of why I don't like absolutely bow to the guy like a lot of right wingers do.
The house next door to Kim to see my children. And they even said that I was stalking her and her new boyfriend because I bought the house next door to see my children. And that's how I knew that my mom had said that to him. I said, Dad, you know, they moved us to one of the most agreed upon to be one of the most dangerous places in the world. It's almost like they tried to kill me or something. I said, Dad, why'd you never come to get us? And that's when he told me that she was told that. You know, there's so many things that are put in Kim's head. You know, they bring influencers like, no one ever knows where.
Kanye is like a liberal Christian who's exploring his conservative shadow. I think that's a good take. Which state does Kanye reside in? If it's a blue state, he's not winning a Senate seat. Well, I think like California and Montana, right? He has property in Montana. So the next senator of Montana, Kanye West, I don't think it's going to happen. If I'm going to be honest, could Kanye West win a Senate seat in Montana? I know everyone who's so plugged in is like, yes, obviously it's Kanye West. Everyone knows him as the based conservative rapper. I mean, okay. Do you think the people of Montana are going to look at Kanye and be like, I want this guy to be my senator? Say what you will about it. I honestly, I would not see that happening, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't see that as very likely. He has property in Wyoming. Okay, sorry, my bad. Wyoming. Same thing, though. Do you really see Kanye being palatable to a bunch of Wyoming ranchers? I don't know if that's exactly his target audience. You know,
Corey Gamble came from.
I don't know if he has a lot of fans in Wyoming, if I'm going to be honest with you.
No one in the fashion world knows where Gabby came from. These people were practically made in a laboratory, in my opinion. And one of the things that they're really good at doing is being nice and being likable. And what they do is, for people that have some form of influence, whether it's an educated Black woman like my mother that became the head of the English department at Chicago State University, or whether it's the most influential white woman on the planet, being my ex-wife, they have people that are around them at all times telling them what to be afraid of. It's like not what to do or say specifically, it's what to be afraid of. And if you have a person that isn't...
No, real, it's true.
You know, like a Russell Brand or Candace Owens. Sure. It's not that we have to agree with this, but
They're not afraid.
They're not afraid to state what their opinion is.
Yeah.
No one is God, and everyone has an opinion.
So a conversation like this is a window into a world that you don't see. So if you're familiar with West from the media, you think of him as an individual man. What you don't think about is that he is at the center of a battle, and people like him are at the center of a battle to get a message out.
True.
Mouthed by the lips of influencers like him and so many others.
All right, so I did watch more of the interview. I don't know if there's much else to show you, if I'm going to be completely honest. there's a part where he called out Jared Kushner. We kind of already explained that. But anyways, I want to read, because like I said, I barely have a take on this. I barely know how to even like process this other than showing you here's what Kanye West said. But my friend Danielle Ray actually posted something on Instagram about the whole take, which I think is very good because there's a lot of people. I don't know. I mean, most conservatives or whatever are like based epic Kanye or whatever. Um, I know the House GOP tweeted out something like Kanye, Elon, Trump, which is just like okay. I don't know. I don't know if the House GOP is necessarily endorsing of some of the things Kanye said about Jared Kushner and others, but all right, whatever. They're going to water it down and claim it. Fine, whatever. But there's also people who are like, Kanye's a bad look for this stuff. He's literally clearly like bipolar and schizo, or, Joel Osteen, whatnot. He's a liberal Christian, quote unquote, dangerous figure, subversive or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, that's true. And which is why I'm not a Kanye West super fan, okay? Which is why I think I'm fairly balanced about the guy. I think I'm fairly nuanced and whatnot. But I mean, how can it, objectively speaking, how is it a bad thing that Kanye West is saying white lives matter? That Kanye West is not even, I mean, you listen to a lot of his points, it's not even always the generic, just like Blexit, plantation, like Democrat plantation or whatever. The guy went out there and said that Jared Kushner ruined the Trump administration. Okay. So anyways, I think she put this very well, actually. So I'm just going to read it and you guys can decide what you think. Fun fact to all you Kanye haters out there. 1, Kanye has always had conservative values. I don't know if that's true, by the way. Okay, Danielle, I don't know if some of his past music reflects conservative values, but what I will say is he's always had certain more conservative opinions, I guess. Like, he's always been kind of just all over the place thinker. I wouldn't say he's always had conservative values. But okay, but Kanye is not a Christian male role model. Kanye has plenty of areas where he needs to grow and should not be worshipped or idolized. I agree. Number 2, no one is saying we should prop up Kanye as a conservative king. We have one king, and that is Jesus Christ. True. But here's kind of the take she gives, which again, I think was very well put. What Kanye is doing is important because of his position in society. He is more bold than many pastors in the country who cater to unbelieving people and chase money more than ministry, which is true, actually. And that's as someone who, again, I don't think is a good spiritual teacher and at least associates with Joel Osteen, who is a false teacher, right? But what he said about abortion, it's very true. There are a lot of non-heretic, quote unquote, pastors in this country who will not say that on Sunday, who will not be willing to say that. Okay. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Or even say what he is saying about like female modesty, which is shouldn't even be that controversial. Hold on. We got a super chat. Noah Boy for $2 says, you and your setup look really good tonight. Well, thank you, Noah. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the 2. Thank you for the support. But anyways, here's point number 3. Just because Kanye is not necessarily a good Christian role model doesn't mean that the Holy Spirit is done with him. It also doesn't mean we get to trash his music or lyrics. Recognize talent for what it is, and Kanye is an extremely talented individual who has a huge influence in the culture. What Kanye is doing is very important when it comes to cultural influence. What conservatives are praising is his boldness, not his faith in Jesus Christ. Good point. Good point. That is true, right? I don't think most people are praising him as a Christian leader. We're just saying he's bold for breaking the paradigm and saying things, by the way, not just that a lot of pastors won't be willing to say, the whole pro-life thing. How many conservative Republicans are willing to call out Jared Kushner for destroying the whole Trump administration? So, that's twofold. It's okay to both criticize a celebrity and call out sin while also recognizing the talent that God has given them and the position God has given them in society. If let's see, all truth is God's truth, no matter who speaks it. True. And if Kanye is currently the one who God uses to begin to open people's eyes, who are we to deny that? It doesn't mean we call him pastor or even call him a Christian. Personally, I don't know where he is in his walk with Christ, and I pray God saves him, true. But anytime God's kingdom is advanced, who am I to oppose it? Christians are in the business of planting the gospel into the hearts and minds of the lost. John complained to Jesus, quote, "We saw someone driving out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he is not one of us." Jesus said, "Do not stop him, for he that is not against us is for us." In this context, we have no idea who was casting out demons, whether they had the Holy Spirit or whether Jesus ever interacted with him. But Jesus said not to stop him. He didn't even say don't listen to him. I think we can correctly apply that context here. If Kanye is not against us, he is for us. Don't try to silence truth no matter where it comes from. Again, call out sin, stand on the word of God. But who in the world are you to say who God can and can't use? You were okay with God using Trump, but you're not okay with God using Kanye. I think that's well put. I think that's a good way to say it. And I have to say, I think it's true. You know, again, yes, Kanye hangs out with Joel Osteen. Yes, Joel Osteen is a false teacher. Okay, not just a pastor who's a little cringe or who is a little heterodox. I consider Joel Osteen to be a false teacher. Okay, for the record. But is it a bad thing culturally that he at least comes out and says that he's a Christian? Maybe to an extent, yes, because you could say he's not being a good ambassador for what Christianity looks like or whatever. But when you're at the point where society is so insanely godless and he's going out here saying, I'm Christian, I'm pro-life, this and that, is it something we should oppose? You know what I mean? It's not something we have to go out here and say he's based, he's the leader of the country. I'm not saying Kanye 2024 for the record. I would not vote for him for president or most office for the record, at least from what I see right now. But should we be in opposition to this? Or is it just kind of a countercultural W? I think it's a countercultural W, So anyways, Enclave Nationalist for 2, thank you very much, says big government is actually right-wing and based. I'm not for big or small government. I'm for effective government, right? Like, I think it's undeniable that a lot of our current government is too bloated, it's too bureaucratic. But I think the issue is that the modern GOP and arguably the modern the political establishment as a whole, they are big government where they should be small government, where they should just let you start a business or collect rainwater or buy a gun or, pay less in taxes or whatever. They don't do anything on that front, right? They're big government where they should be small government. And then where they should be big government, they're small government. When it comes to, protecting American jobs, protecting the American dream, the way of life, protecting families, all of a sudden, free market, bro, you're on your own. When it comes to the big tech, all of a sudden, free market, bro, you're on your own. So, it's, again, I'm not for big or small government. I'm for effective government, right? I think that's a good way to put it. And I think there is something to be said. I will say it's kind of a take I've developing recently. Like, there is something to be said about the government not printing money constantly. When you look at the current state of inflation, it's like, maybe we should have a responsible fiscal policy. I actually do agree with that. But at at the expense, but we shouldn't use that as an excuse not to do, you know, strong government conservatism. I think that's a good way to put it. I'm a strong government conservative. It's real and true. So all right. Anyways, that's Kanye West again. Good thing for the Overton window. Yes. I don't know what else to say besides that. It's Kanye West. But anyways, did want to respond to this. We will move on from that and discuss this. I got reposted by PatriotTakes, you guys. So if you don't know what PatriotTakes is, which oh wait, hold on. This is actually the wrong this is the wrong Twitter thread, but why not? Well, we can talk about this one too. Let me put it on the screen here. PatriotTakes is like an equivalent to like conservatives posting their L's account. They're like a libtard page that just posts stupid MAGA conservatives saying stupid things. And I wanted to show what they posted about my tweet, because it's just a little bit of a following up the discussion of the Herschel Walker stuff. But you know what? This isn't a good example of it too. So I made a video. Hopefully you guys have seen it, the whole Herschel Walker scandal. I explained in that video why I actually, you know, it's a complicated situation. I'm sure Christian Walker has legitimate grievances. It's pretty clear he was absent as a father. And, you know, he needs to repent of that. He needs to, you know, admit to that mistake. My point in that video was I think Herschel Walker is a changed man. And I kind of provided the evidence throughout his life and kind of his current state to, you know, explain why I thought that was. Okay. But long story short, PatriotTakes, again, they post what they think are conservative L's. Okay. They post what they think are conservative L's. Well, here's Herschel Walker at I think it was like First Baptist Church of Atlanta or something like that. Yes, First Baptist Church of Atlanta. And you know, he's been the target of a lot of hit pieces recently. You know, they're bringing up his past. You have this story about the abortion, quote unquote, him paying a woman supposedly for an abortion in 2009, which I've established and gone over why I don't think is true at all. Like even Christian Walker couldn't corroborate any aspect of that, you know. But you know, okay, regardless, here we go. Enclave Nationalist for $5 says, what do you think if America was a right-wing dictatorship? I think you want to get me taken off of YouTube is your answer there. But I will say, if I was king, if I was Caesar, I don't know, maybe things would be better. Or someone I liked, someone who was cool, as opposed to the democracy of Brandon. Hey, I didn't say anything. I'm just saying maybe things would be better. Okay. We're gonna appoint. I wouldn't say appoint John Doyle as Caesar because he wouldn't do anything, but appoint someone cool that we like as Caesar. It's just true. John Doyle would be like the rescue of the country is imminent, and then like a year later, he hasn't passed a single, he hasn't signed a single order into law. It's true. But anyways, here we go. This is the big L that Herschel Walker is doing, praying. Okay, wait, let me make the screen bigger. My bad. I should probably do that. That probably would be smart. That would be smart, wouldn't that? This is the fight of his life. We rebuke the devil. At the Herschel Walker prayer luncheon, prayer was made for Herschel and his wife against the attacks from the enemy and for Herschel to rise above the sludge from the media circling this property. Okay, where's the L? Guys, Christians praying. Wow. This guy is going through, regardless of what you think of him, he's going through something pretty intense right now. He's the subject of a lot of attack. Wow. How dare these Christians at this Baptist church in Atlanta, how dare they pray for him? Wow. You can't do that. Praying for a person? Praying that they be able to deal with something that is difficult for us, you know, is a big, wow, what an L, guys. What an L. Okay, PatriotTakes really exposing the right wing, okay, by showing them praying. Herschel Walker praying. He can't do that. It's like, it's, you know, so this is all to say that these type of stuff I see against Herschel Walker, continues to lean me more into the opinion that, like, I think this is a guy with a lot of issues, a lot of demons, who has been working on his life, and especially over the past decade has been trying to, redeem himself. And these are the people attacking him for him, going to church, asking people to pray, being humble enough to ask people to pray for him, and kneeling his head to God. This is the great L of the Republican Party and of Herschel Walker. Okay, Christian does Christian thing. I know. But anyways, the reason I bring that up, let's see. So here you go. Look at this. What do they call themselves? They are dedicated researchers monitoring and exposing right-wing extremism and other threats to democracy. All right. So this is right-wing extremism and a threat to democracy. Well, maybe that's true to an extent. Yeah, that's true, actually. Christians praying, yes. People following the Lord, submitting to Christ. It's actually quite true. Yeah, that is the biggest threat to democracy, quote unquote. It's the biggest threat to the established order of our satanic ruling class. Yeah, that is true, actually. Yeah, this is what they fear. They're not wrong about that. They're just being very open about that, right? Right. Christians praying for a person who's going through a lot. This is you really exposed us here. Okay, you really exposed us here. But anyways, they shouted me out this week. Patriot Takes, finally. It's been a long time. I have said things before. Let me say this. I've said things before that I was like, I hope this ends up on Patriot Takes. And it hasn't yet, so I'm humbled and glad to finally see that. But let's see what they're okay. MTG 2024. Wow, just total right-wing extremism. But anyways, let me see if I can. Okay, let me just go to the Twitter profile here. I think it'll be easier to find there. But yeah, what an L, folks. But it's true, that's what they fear. The democracy worshipers, what they fear most, let it be said, what they fear most is you actually praying to God and not praying to democracy, whatever that means. It's very true. Anyways, so I tweeted this when the Christian Walker stuff was first breaking, which I'll admit, okay, it wasn't really meant to be serious. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek, haha, he have Heisman Trophy, you not. But anyways, I said this last I checked, because Christian Walker was going out here saying all this, and keep in mind at the time, he hadn't even done the video yet. It seemed like this was just some paid op, and so that was the opinion I was giving. But anyways, I said last year I checked, your dad has a Heisman Trophy and you don't, so I support your dad. And Patriot Takes was like the MAGA response. Okay, the MAGA response, and it's true. I'll admittedly, did I say this very unseriously? Yes. Is it a wrong take? Actually, is it necessarily a wrong take? And to that, I will say no. I don't actually disavow this take. But, people looking at me, coming at me like this, like, yes, because a football trophy should be a prerequisite for any presidential candidate. First of all, he's not a presidential candidate. He's a senatorial candidate. Just to, correct you there, Money. He's actually not doing that. But can we stop the fake intellectual nonsense, okay? Just this idea, it's just like nerd politics, okay? The idea that, we should vote on candidates based on policy and whatnot. Yeah, is that why you vote Joe Biden? Okay, who's a literal, I'm not going to say it, but you know what he is, okay? He's an idiot. He is like mentally deficient. He's that's the guy you voted for based on his great policy proposals and his understanding of U.S. government and whatnot, okay? The guy, as a matter of fact, is a certain word that starts with an R. Okay, that's what Joe Biden is. So Just first, but with that said, why did you vote for Joe Biden? Because he was not Trump, and I don't know, he pretended to be a likable R word at that or whatever. But let's just stop pretending like anyone votes based on policy or whatever, okay? Yeah, you know the reality of the situation. If you want to have politicians out there who or at least people making policy decisions who are based purely on merit and smarts and whatnot, and not based on personality, which is all that it is, then don't support democracy, okay? Don't support a system where you let the masses vote, okay? Because do you think that, you know how much of the U.S. population seriously votes based on policy and how smart and ethical all? I think that it's probably about 2%, okay? In all reality, it's probably about 2 to 5% at most. That's all that they vote on. The vast majority vote for the people who they think they like, or they vote for the party or whatever. But the idea that policy decisions or electoral decisions are being made based on anything not on these grounds is ridiculous. It's the fake intellectual nonsense. And with that said, it is fun to me. It's the reason I enjoy this whole take of vote for Herschel Walker because football man, vote for Herschel Walker because Heisman Trophy, is just precisely to call out, the ridiculousness of democracy itself in a lot of ways, right? Because you can ridicule it all you want, but that's how virtually every electoral decision is made. Okay, that's the truth. That's the truth. Exactly. No, it's so true. He is just mad because he didn't win a Heisman Trophy. Socrates knew this. Yes, Socrates knew Heisman Trophy must mean a good candidate or whatever, But I said this in response, and it's so true. It's so true. And let me just say, when Herschel Walker wins in November, which he probably will for the record, you know why he is going to win? It's not going to be because he is the smartest guy or he has any. It's going to be because he's a Georgia football legend and he's running in a state where he's a hero. Okay, that's the truth of the matter. Okay, that's the truth of the matter. And this will be unironically the reason Herschel Walker wins. Is like the fake intellectual. No, you can't support Herschel Walker just because he has a Heisman Trophy. And then the response that the Georgia electorate is going to give to all of these fake intellectuals is exactly that. Go Dogs! Woo, 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 woo. Real. It's just so true. It's so true. Okay. This is unironically what is going to happen. Okay. The fake intellectual takes, and I said this too, it's like, I wonder if people in ancient times complained that their warrior kings had no policy proposals. And that's something we need to remember, I think. These nerdy intellectuals for most of human history are not who built things. It's actually, human civilization used to be led by warrior kings, by just the strongest, best fighter among people. And that's what Herschel Walker is. And, what exactly is the issue? What exactly is the problem with saying that is, that's an invalid reason to vote for a political candidate? Don't get me wrong. If Herschel Walker were a Democrat or, he was a liberal, he's going to vote for liberal things. Yeah, I wouldn't say Heisman Trophy, therefore whatever. But really what this is doing to me is just boiling down the ridiculousness of democracy itself. Hey, you don't like this? Then stop worshiping a system where you let everyone vote. That's the reality of the situation, okay? Because, we know how the story goes. JFK got elected, let's say, because suburban women thought he was attractive. Beto O'Rourke almost won because women thought he was attractive. Like, that's literally like the reason the electorate did that. Okay. All right. Don't get me wrong. Dwight Eisenhower, I think he could hold his own on a political level, but why was he there? War hero. Okay. War hero. George Washington didn't even have to campaign. What was he? War hero. Ronald Reagan, famous celebrity. Donald Trump, billionaire. Hillary Clinton, woman. Like I'm so tired of people pretending like a political system as stupid and as low IQ as democracy is judged by anything different than the way I'm like satirically approaching this. Okay, that's the reality of the situation. And the fact of the matter is this, okay? No Heisman Trophy, no opinion. All right, as I said this in response to, and it's so true. It's so true. Let me get it here. It's so true. Yes. Hey, at PatriotTakes, okay, you can't do that. They see when you do that. You can't say Herschel Walker have Heisman Trophy. You can't do that. No, you have to talk about his policy or whatever. Oh yeah, 8,200 rushing yards, 3-time All-American, 1 Heisman Trophy. Wait. There's a right way we got to do this. Hold on, we got to get some audio playing in the background. Okay, give me a second here. All right. Wait a minute. All right, you guys ready? Are we ready for this? Okay. So true. Listen. 8,200 rushing yards, 3-time All-American, 1 Heisman Trophy, 0 abortions, by the way. Totally fake story. So 1 Heisman Trophy, 0 abortions. Your next senator from the great state of Georgia, Herschel Redemption Walker. It's so true. They see that this, okay? They see at the football man, okay? The entire Democrat electorate is saying, no, you can't do this. No. He did that. He did this. Oh yeah. How about this, buddy? How about this? Go Dogs! Real. You get mad at this, okay? They say you can't do it, but listen to me, all right? Because it makes them mad. I will say this, okay? Listen. If Herschel Walker has 10 million fans, then I am one of them. If Herschel Walker has 10 fans, then I am one of them. If Herschel Walker has no fans, then I am no longer on this earth. Why? Because he's cool football man. That's it. It really is that simple. Screw you, fake intellectual nerds, okay? You fear this. We're going to have Senator Herschel Walker, and soon we will have Senator Stetson Bennett IV. It's going to happen, by the way. And frankly, there's nothing you can do about it. Because college football is greater than nerds, okay? It's so true. It's so true. All right. In all seriousness, yes, troll face. It's so fun. It's just so fun to pretend, for people to make fun of us while we're like, oh, Heisman Trophy. Oh yeah, that's it. You know what? If you're so upset about Herschel Walker, then try stopping him. Okay. Line up as the middle linebacker. Try to, you know what he's gonna do? You're the middle linebacker. You're like talking crap before they snap the ball. Like, hey, buddy, you can't. You're scandalous, right? You're a horrible person, right? You want to take away women's right to choose, right? You know what's gonna happen? Herschel Walker is gonna run right into you. He's gonna truck you, okay? You're gonna be flat on your back like that one time Bo Jackson carried that guy like that's gonna be you. All right, that's gonna be you. And all you're gonna hear from the stadium is a bunch of people going woo 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 woo. It's just true. This is what's gonna happen. Okay. It's real and the case. All right. That it really is that simple. All right. And again, if you have such a problem with us looking at it like this, then don't blame us, blame democracy. And let us not forget all the times that Democrats have tried to run someone just because they were, I don't know, cool or whatever. People thought at least. All right. So Brian Bosworth. Yes, that was his name. Real and true. Myra Flores is an example. She's charismatic, but she's an example of pretty privilege. I mean, look, can we stop pretending like people don't vote based on this stuff? You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous to pretend like that. If a candidate has it can't have the best ideas if they have no charisma, if they're not good looking some of the time. If they're not good looking, if they don't have something just cool going on, they're not going to win an election. We don't have to sit around and pretend, otherwise. Okay. I don't know. You can get mad at me all you want. The Georgia voters are going to agree with me in November. You'll see. I don't know if he's going to win, but the fact that he'll keep it close, I think he's still the favorite. But regardless, say he wins, say he doesn't. The fact that it's going to be a competitive election, which it is because of the fact that he's Herschel Walker, and you can get mad at that, but it's the truth. It really is the truth. Okay. So that's Herschel. I mean, you can watch my video if you want to see the actual response to the scandals. Really quickly to go over it, the whole idea, like it's pretty obvious he has a pretty bad past, but I think you look through his story, the book he wrote and all that, it seems to me like he's a guy who, redeemed himself, or at least is trying to redeem himself. Actually, let's see. Let me try to find his ad. I know he released an ad in response to this. I thought was pretty well done as well. Let me see when he did it, actually. But I thought this response ad basically summed up my point, which is true. All right, here we go.
Running a nasty, dishonest campaign. Rebel One Up's running a nasty, dishonest campaign. Perfect for Washington. The Reverend doesn't even tell my full story, my true story. As everyone knows, I had a real battle with mental health. Even wrote a book about it. And by the
which is true, he did. So again, he's being exposed. All these secret. It's not really much of a secret. Okay, none of it is secret. Actually, he's been very open about it, and he's been very open about how he turned his life around. So,
grace of God, I've overcome it. One Up's a preacher who doesn't tell the truth. He doesn't even believe in redemption. I'm Herschel Walker, saved by grace. Now approve this message.
So true, King. So true. Good response, I do have to say, by the way. The more, like, when I first saw this, first saw the whole story break out, my first response was like, oh boy, here's Christian Walker going crazy. Maybe he's paid, maybe he's this or that. I was like, it must just be an op, whatever. But the more, now I had to actually look into it, research it. The more I will say this, the more that I look into Herschel Walker's life, the more I find out about the whole story, it actually makes me support him more, right? Because maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he's a total scumbag or whatever. But what I see going through the narrative of his life is someone who had a lot of problems. He was seriously screwed up. He turned his life around. He put his faith in God. He sought help. He tried to make amends for all the things he did in his past. And now here's a guy trying to make a difference and trying to make a positive impact on his society and in his own personal life, right? I know Christian Walker is still bitter. It's understandable. Okay, and you can definitely see in Christian Walker's everything the lack of what a good father did to his life. But, in recent years, Herschel has been trying to spend time with Christian, support him and whatnot. It seemed to me like he's been trying to be a better father. Now, I guess Christian still is not happy. I get it. Okay, I see what's happening here. And I know it's not, just because you change up your mindset doesn't mean you can just totally rectify every bridge you burned overnight. Okay, so I understand that. But from what I kind of hear about his story and learn about his story, and you look at what he's trying to do now, he got into politics before he was running for Senate even. He's just trying to talk about things that would make the country better, make society better. He clearly seems to have overcome, his mental health problems and all that. And, he's all about redemption. He's open about his faith. Like, to me, I look at that and I actually see a likable guy. I actually see like a likable, real person who, you know, in his early days, legendary football player on top of the world. And it happens to a lot of pro athletes once they retire, totally falls off, you know, mentally off the cliff and whatnot. And has all these problems. Maybe some of them were from football, who knows, but a lot of mental problems, screwed up there, almost kills people. Like literally almost kills people. Very, very low person he was, point of his life. And, you know, he writes about it in 2002. He was literally about to kill someone. He was about to kill someone because he was angry at. And he saw that they had a Jesus loves you sticker on the back of his car. And like that stopped him. It was like a watershed moment for him. And he made a lot of mistakes after that too, by the way. But that was like, but you know, I think it's sometimes not always a linear process, right? It's a non-linear process to redemption a lot of times. But he sees that sticker and, you know, slips up still along the way. But overall, like that's like the turning point in his life where he fundamentally decides he's going to be better and he's going to turn to Christ and all that. And then you look at where he is now, you know, I look at this and I see a real human being. Okay, I look at this and I see a guy who's, you know, he's not a polished guy who spent his whole life prepping himself for politics and you know, being perfect for the camera and all that. Here's a guy who is a legend, but is a legend who fought a lot of demons and by the grace of God has overcome the problems that he had in his past. Maybe he's still not a perfect person, but I'm supposed to like dislike this guy. I don't know, because like, and maybe it's all fake and he's playing into my sense of redemption as a Christian, right? Because, and I think all Christians agree with this, a genuine story of redemption, especially like extreme redemption, like literally was about to kill a guy, saw a Jesus sticker that rang something in his consciousness, and he decided to fix himself and turn to Christ. That's a moving story to me, right? Like that's something I actually find compelling. That's something where I look at it and I'm like, I would actually prefer to vote for that guy over the totally fake, just ridiculous career establishment politician. But maybe that's just me. You know. But I just have to, you know, just in conclusion, the more I've learned about this story and the more I've learned about the arc of all of it, and look, it's Herschel Walker. And keep that in mind too, right? Is someone like Herschel Walker, not the most charismatic, you know, not the smartest guy or anything, isn't necessarily going to be easy for someone like him to come off as fake or to pretend to be something he's not. No, the guy's not nearly talented enough rhetorically, publicly for any of that. I look at that ad and whatnot, and I'm moved by it. You know what I mean? I look at that and I'm like, real human being check. Like, you know what I mean? So maybe that's just me. But I actually, you know, I think I'm quite moved by that. He's not a good father. There's proof. We discussed this, dude. We discussed this. We didn't say he was a good father. I did say he screwed up so much of his life. He had serious mental issues. He would not have been fit to run for political office in 2005 or even 2010, maybe. The point we are making is that this does seem to be a guy who turned around his life. You tell me how he can go back in time and fix his screwed up life as a father. You tell me that. But this is fundamentally what it gets down to, okay? We believe in redemption because we are Christians, because we know we are saved by grace, and you guys are so, you know, you guys have such a high moral opinion of who you are and what you know what human beings are, that you're unable to comprehend the idea of people actually being fallen and making mistakes and deciding to repent and give their lives to God and to fundamentally change who they are as people. Okay? That's really what this is about. All right? Now, it would be one thing if it seemed to be totally disingenuous to me, because that happens, and it's politics. So obviously, we have to be more skeptical than to take everyone's turn to something else at face value. Of course, that's the case. Of course, I'm generally skeptical when I see that in politics. Difference is Herschel Walker is not a political person. Okay, this is just an athlete, or whatever, just a person, like a normal person. Not I want to say a normal person because, being a college football player, Heisman Trophy winner, NFL, that's not a normal person, okay? But as someone who's not spent their whole life gearing for the public eye or whatever, and who wrote a whole book about this whole story and whatnot, I find that to be a genuine redemption story, okay? Again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's totally playing us all for a fiddle. But who are you to say that? Who actually, who are you to say that? Who are you to be the judge of that? Unless you have evidence for me that still in 2022, Herschel Walker is the same person that he was years ago and was throughout a lot of his life. Unless you can provide me the evidence that he hasn't changed, who are you to be the judge of this, dude? Okay? Seriously. So anyways, Enclave Nationalist says, what do you think of Walt Disney, the guy? I honestly don't know a lot about him. It's difficult for me because I know he was like a conservative and stuff and a Republican and whatnot. But I feel like a lot of the stuff that the Disney Corporation has, like we talk about how it's satanic and all that stuff, I am lean to believe it's kind of been like that since the beginning. But then maybe people say, oh no, actually he was good. It was like who took it on after his death that did all that and whatnot. So I don't really know. I don't really have an opinion on Walt Disney, the person specifically. But anyways, Disney hated communists. Yeah, I guess. It just susses me out on his front that, clearly like what he passed. Because it's not, people are like, oh, Disney is so woke because of 2022. They've been very strange and very shady for a long time. Okay. The only question is like, how long has it been a allegedly satanic company and whatnot? Who knows? Who knows on that front? But it's so true. No, you cannot make any mistakes in your life. You must be a polished Ivy League grad career politician than these peasants. Establishment real. It's just so true. It's so true. Okay. Let's play this again one more time since people just refuse to just see the in my opinion, the real human being that Herschel Walker is. And you know why I say he's a real human being and why it comes off as one? Because I don't think he has the capability to be anything else. Again, right? Someone who has trained their whole career to be a politician, someone who, et cetera. They can be fake. They know how to be fake. Do you think Herschel Walker knows how to be fake? I don't think he does. Noah Boyd for 2 says Walt Disney, earlier stage of Disney. Thank you for the 2. I don't know what you mean by that, but I don't know. I like I said, I don't know if Disney has always been, or it's just that like after he died, the company started to be overrun by that,
Rebel One Up's running a nasty, dishonest campaign. Perfect for Washington. The Reverend doesn't even tell my full story, my true story. As everyone knows, I had a real battle with mental health. Even wrote a book about it. And by the grace of God, I've overcome it. One Up's a preacher who doesn't tell the truth. He doesn't even believe in redemption. I'm Herschel Walker, saved by grace. And I approve this message.
That's the other thing too. All right. Again, you can say it's all a grift or whatever, but how long has it supposedly been a grift, the whole Christian thing? Because you know what? When Herschel Walker wrote his book in 2008, he had no reason to talk about all that stuff, which he did in that, you know, the whole, he saw the Jesus sticker, he like dropped to his knees. That was the point where he said he was going to seek help and all that stuff. He was not trying to run for office in 2008. He hasn't just adopted the whole appeal to the sense of Christian sympathy thing overnight. This is something for basically a decade, over a decade now. He's talked about that. Okay, but let me also ask this question. How many Republican candidates have I seen go out there and be humble and also controversial, quote unquote, to admit, to basically be openly Christian in a campaign ad for the general election? Okay, I'm Herschel Walker, saved by grace. How many Republicans out there will say that in a general election? Not many, which again gets back to the point, continues to make me like this guy more. You know, I like this. I don't think he's the best politician or political candidate. I don't know if he's going to be based, quote unquote, as a senator. I think he'll be a pretty run-of-the-mill Republican. But I find him to be an incredibly likable guy, if I'm being totally honest. He's not the smartest guy. He's not the most articulate guy. He's not the most charismatic guy. But dang, do I find him likable? Do I find him, you know, relatable? Not in the sense that I ever had a violent past like that, but in the sense that I too was, and still am, but was a depraved, horrible person who deserved eternal damnation and punishment, and who by the grace of God was able to, you know, have my eyes opened, etc. Right? I find that entire message appealing. I find it likable. I find it real. I find it so real. Okay? And again, maybe I'm being played. Maybe we're all being played. Okay? But legitimately speaking, I'm like, I look at this and I'm like, real human being moment. And that is true. That is true. I can relate because I also played running back. That part is also true. That part is also true. Okay. And actually, speaking on that front, this is the Herschel Walker solidarity moment. We will show this on stream because why not? I posted this. I said, as a show of solidarity with Herschel Walker, here's me scoring a touchdown in youth football. It's so true. Let me ask this question: how many touchdowns has Raphael Warnock scored? Huh? How many touchdowns have all the libtards who are, you know, oh, you can't do that? Oh, yeah? How many touchdowns have you scored? Herschel Walker scored a lot. I've scored a few, but this is true. Check this out. This is my Herschel Walker moment. All right. This is the real reason I relate to Herschel Walker. Here's me in youth football. I think this was in 7th grade. Look at that cut. Look at that cut. And then the breakaway speed. You couldn't catch me. You can't catch me. Real. So true. So true. But anyways. I believe in Herschel Walker. If you think about it, what motive does he have to run for office? Lose your reputation and personal costs are much higher than not run. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's putting a lot on his shoulders, pun intended, haha, football, whatever, to do this. You know, I don't know. I don't know. But I find him compelling. I find him relatable. And that's about it. Everyone's like, let's go, Vinny the Kid. Real. You know, I think people think I'm a nerd or whatever. That I was probably, you know, because I think people look at me and I'm like, he's probably like don't get me wrong, I was the smart kid growing up, but the kid who just was like a total nerd who couldn't do anything. Admittedly, in high school, yes, I cared more about the politics stuff than anything else. That was like my focus. But the idea that I never was an adjusted human being, no, that's not true. Look at this again. Okay. So you got I think this was just supposed to be, from what I remember, I don't know, it's been so long. This is supposed to just be an outside run. Okay, just supposed to be a typical like power O or whatever. I was like, all right, you got this over here. I was like, they're all kind of crashing this way. What if I just cut back on them? And it was, look at that. Oh. All right. This guy, he stood no chance. The defender stood no chance. See, I'm Herschel Walker. That's Christian Walker right there trying to take him down. Couldn't do it. And then, oh, look at this guy. That's Patriot Takes right there. All right. And here's Raphael Warnock. Here's Raphael Warnock right here. Okay. He's got the angle. He should be able to do it. Look at that. He's got the angle of pursuit clearly. No reason he shouldn't be able to do it. He's in the lead. He's got the lead right here. But the speed, the invincible speed of Herschel Walker, all right, can't catch him. Cannot catch him. Wow. Wow. So true. So true. Okay. All right. Enough on the Herschel Walker front. Let us continue to transition. I totally forgot to do the Ben Sasse statements, the segment, I mean, so my bad. So we'll talk about that really quickly. Good news. All right, very good news. But Nebraska Senator Ben Sasse this week announced that he is retiring. Let me see if I could find a headline about it somewhere. Okay, well, maybe I should just go to my regular tweets. You should be welcoming Ben Sasse to his new job. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to see if I can find a headline to put on the screen. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Well, this works. All right. Let me zoom in here. So, Ben Sasse, senator from Nebraska, total rhino. We've known that. But most people know Ben Sasse for voting to impeach Trump. Right? That's the whole thing against him. So he's actually retiring midterm. It's not that he's just not going to run for another term. He got reelected in, what was it? I think like 2020, if I'm not mistaken, 2018, 2020 or something like that. And he announced midterm he's out, he's done, he's retiring. Literally got ran out of the Republican Party, which is good news, which is great news. And we can all celebrate. Okay, 07's wonderful. We love that. Very happy. Rhino gone. Virtual Republican flip now. Can you believe we can finally get a Republican senator in the state of Nebraska, etc. But the point I wanted to focus on is the actual legacy of Ben Sasse, because I see so many principled conservative types defending him, right? They're like, give me a legitimate reason you don't like Ben Sasse besides the fact that he impeached Trump. He voted to convict Trump, I should say. He voted to convict Trump in the impeachment trial. And it's like, number one, the idea that is something that should not be totally and utterly disqualifying and rebuked is ridiculous. You voted to convict the, Republican president or whatever that was, the best president in several decades for a totally sham, bogus reason like that, something like that. Yeah, it should ruin your career, believe it or not. But even if we want to not talk about that aspect, okay. Oh, Ben Sasse was a good senator besides impeaching Trump. I'm a principled conservative. Well, let's talk about that. So while he has been senator, let me just point this out. Oh, what a hero to the people of Nebraska. While he has been senator, Nebraska has had a lot of problems that he not only has been totally complacent with, he's actually aided in a lot of those sort of problems, okay? So the state of Nebraska right now is undergoing two key issues, I would say. Number one is they're dealing with a lot of the fallout and the consequences of just sheer corporate greed. So corporations that are, headquartered or whatever out of some small towns in Nebraska, for an example, in 2019, Tucker Carlson did a whole segment about this, are packing up and leaving, going to other countries, going to big cities, abandoning the small towns. So you have the corporate greed hollowing out destruction of Nebraska. And then number two, immigration. Big problem in Nebraska that nobody talks about, right? Because when we think of the immigration issue, it's like, oh, they're all going to Texas and turning it blue. They're going to big cities and whatnot. Few people talk about the sheer impact that immigration is having in a state like Nebraska. The phenomenon of the farm workers, right? You have these small farm towns, who, families have been there for generations. They're being totally overrun as we speak right now in Nebraska by Hispanic migrants, by literally oftentimes, for the most part, illegal immigrants who literally are brought over by the big factory farms there to totally just overtake the entire area and whatnot. And this is happening all over the state of Nebraska. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize this. They think, oh, well, immigration is a big city thing and a big state thing and a southern Sunbelt issue thing. Nope. Big issue in Nebraska. Big issue in Nebraska. And what has Ben Sasse done about that? Well, on the corporate front, he's done nothing. In fact, he defends corporations. He defends the behavior there. He says that's free market. He praises that, whatever. Okay. But then number two, he's very liberal on immigration. Ben Sasse has been a pro-immigration, whatever, senator, very liberal on that issue. That's an issue that has actually disproportionately destroyed his state more than a lot of other states and is causing problems for way more people in his state than a lot of other states. And what has he done? Not only has he turned a blind eye, he has been openly endorsing of the very things that are destroying his state. So to the principled conservatives who say, you only didn't like Ben Sasse because of impeaching Trump, that's just fundamentally dishonest. That's just fundamentally not true. Okay? A great state is being destroyed right now because of the problems that Ben Sasse as senator endorsed and abetted in. So you will not be missed. And he was a bad senator even before he impeached Trump. Okay, let's keep that in mind. All right. Tucker Carlson was calling him out in 2019. He sucks. I don't know who's going to replace him. I don't know the slate there. Let's hope that is better than that fool. Okay, truly. Because I think a Midwestern rural state like that deserves a lot better than a guy who is going to support the total overrunning of the state by illegal immigrant farm workers and who's going to defend his people when corporate America tries to hollow out and destroy the soul of their state. All right. I'm asking for too much there, but truly Nebraska deserves better. Okay. Enclave Nationalist for $5 says, my Fallout New Vegas companion list. Number one, Boone. True. Boone is the best companion by far. Number two, Raul. Number three, Eddie. I usually carry around Boone and Eddie. That's my kind of matchup there. Number four, Cass. Number five, Lily. Number six, Rex. Number seven, Arcade. And number eight, Veronica. I think that's a decent ranking. I wouldn't put Veronica all the way at 8, not because I particularly care for her, but just because she's extremely useful for the Brotherhood of Steel for getting in the bunker. Which, I mean, if not, you need like a 100 speech skill. And then on top of that, they like put a slave collar on you and whatnot. It's just a big headache. I think just having Veronica do that's the much better move. So she's useful in that regard, but yeah, I agree. She just sucks. Okay. All right. Anyways, let's transition here. Let me see. What else do we have to talk about tonight, folks? I wanted to go over this. All right. We move into the, I guess, less serious topics, but this is so true. This needs to be discussed. I found this channel on YouTube. All right. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So I go through the YouTube shorts and whatnot. And have you guys seen this guy's channel? Caleb Simpson, the guy who goes around and asks people like, oh, how much do you pay for rent in New York City or whatever? I just wanted to I've been watching this guy's stuff, and it just baffles me how anyone lives like this. Okay. And, I would go so far as to argue it's actually anti-American to live like this. But this guy basically goes around. Look. Okay. We have this whole like urbanite versus ruralite versus suburbanite rivalry all the time. But I just look at something like this. I'm like, how can anyone live in New York City? I mean, this is horrendous. Anyways, let's just play this. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. All right, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. We'll go through some of these here.
How much do you pay for?
It's always like this, like, oh, how much do you pay for rent in New York City? And then they respond, and this is what happens. Okay.
Rent in New York.
500 to my apartment.
Okay, so she pays $500 for rent in New York City, which, by the way, is about what I pay here in rural Florida. Okay, so keep that in mind. And let's just say I have a much bigger place than this woman. Okay, so this is where she lives. Look at this. Hold on, let me see if I can get it bigger or something so we can. All right, I just look at this. Look at how small this is. How does anyone live like this?
How much do you pay for rent in New York?
500 to my apartment.
Now
I
it's
was
just
not
frozen.
expecting this.
What is
at
going
all.
on?
It's really pink.
It's so pink. This is incredible.
Okay.
This is awesome.
It's okay. Let's just refresh. I don't know what happened.
How much do you pay for rent in New York?
500 to my apartment.
I was not expecting this.
You barely have space to walk around and move. It looks like a bathroom. It is what it is. It's like, this is like a college dorm. Okay. It's like a college dorm, which if you're a college kid, it's your first. Okay. Yeah. I guess it's understandable, whatnot. It's kind of just, the tradition a lot of college kids do. I don't know. I never went through that experience for the fact because I had to, I'm a content creator, obviously, but like, this is not a college student. She lives in New York City and she pays $500 for this. $500. Okay.
At all.
Sorry. Let's just play this.
It's so.
There is no room in here at all. That's the whole
Okay,
apartment.
this is incredible.
This is awesome.
Kitchen like area.
awesome. This is a kitchen. What even is that?
Right here into the kitchen. And I wash the dishes in this bucket.
Oh, this is cool. So we got the shower.
Very tiny shower,
over
but
here. Small
not
bathroom.
even going to complain about the size of the bathroom. Okay. The bathroom is sized fine, but still the whole thing is just so cramped.
Beds right now.
Really?
I'll give it a solid 6.
Rent?
Yeah.
687.
The whole space.
Okay. $687 in rent. Let's take a look at this.
Huge window. Makes
Wow. Such a big window, guys. Wow.
this apartment feel giant.
It's not
I have
giant.
storage up here, microwave.
Look at
stove.
how small like his head is about to hit the ceiling.
It's a double I.
This
Oh,
is
I have a
ridiculous.
Can you believe that shit? It opens out. I write my letters and bills here.
Look at that.
Dude,
By the way, $687 in rent. How much you want to bet he lives in like a terrible neighborhood? There's probably like a bunch of cracked out, Democrat voters outside.
I like this setup actually.
Thank you. Get the bed up there.
That's where he like has to climb this ladder to sleep there. This is terrible.
Hello, Mandy. How are you? Dude, this bed's
Imagine living like that. Like, who could live like that? Noah Boyd for the $2. Thank you very much. He says, I pay $400 renting from my parents. Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. But, you don't get it. It's New York City. Empire State where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do except, like, live like an American or something.
setup's pretty cool. How much do you pay for?
All right, let's watch some more of these. Okay, $3,100. I wonder how much. I mean, I want to focus on the cheaper ones, but let's see what $3,100.
How much do you
gets
pay
you
for
in New York
rent in
City?
New York?
I pay around $3,100 a month.
Can I tour your apartment?
$3,100 a month. Well, okay, let's see the apartment she's getting first. Okay, I think that's fair, but still, like $3,100 a month for any apartment, I can't even imagine that. Like that's just ridiculous. You can Let me see. Because I remember, okay, so like me and some friends we never did it. But last year, we were looking at maybe renting a house. Like it's a whole house. It was like it had a pool. It had, is multi-bedroom house, single floor, but like I don't remember how many beds and bath it had, honestly. But it was a whole house. It was like $3,700 a month, I think was the total. It was like $3,700 a month. For a nice house with like a pool and stuff. It had a pool. All right, $3,700. She's paying $3,100 for an apartment. Let's see how many bedrooms. I bet she was like a studio apartment too. Look at this.
I've actually seen your videos before.
Can I use your bathroom real quick? I really need to pee.
Yeah, that's not weird at all.
Oh, that's a closet.
Wrong one. This is my little kitchen area. It's where I cook
Okay, so
all the time. I'm like super into
Oh, that's really
healthy
neat.
stuff. So I have shirts, all my gym clothes, and then pants on the bottom.
Bedroom's over here, so that means like your storage for your clothes and stuff is kind of in the living room.
I transported this all the way from Jersey Shore, carried it like this through Penn Station and everything, and everybody was staring at me. This whole entire place is 550 square feet, which is the biggest place that I could find for the price.
550 square feet, the biggest they can find for the price. This is a 1-bedroom apartment. And I could live somewhere like this, right? This is not super small or whatever, but like it's not really all that big. $3,100 a month.
I go to school here, so it's super convenient for me, and it's better than a dorm. One of my favorite parts.
Average NYU student.
Whoa, that's sick.
It's low-key basic, but you did see my bathroom.
It's low-key basic, but oh no.
Insane.
What are you guys doing in the bathroom?
So this is my
She's a Twitch streamer. Oh. She looks like one.
setup.
Hey.
Solid 7.5.
I should tan up here, honestly.
This view's pretty fucking
At night, it's beautiful too.
Hey, watch the language, buddy. Okay, so decent apartment and whatnot. I don't think it's horrible by any stretch. It's all right. $3,100 a month. $3,100 a month. Where I live, you could get that probably under $1,000 a month. Probably. Maybe not. Maybe like $1,000, $1,100 a month. Okay, for your own like 1-bedroom apartment, it would probably be about that. I don't know. You probably could find one under 1,000, honestly, but I'm just giving the reasonable price. Decent apartment with amenities or whatnot. Let's see some of the smaller ones though. That's what I want to focus on. Okay, let me see. Where is his? Okay, there's only 10. I don't know. Hold on. Okay.
What's you pay for
Smallest apartment in New York City.
rent in New York City? Crazy question.
$650 for rent. All right.
Could I have a tour of your apartment?
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, let's go.
Is this like the city dweller version of like pit vipers or heat waves? Like, is this what they wear up north? Is this what those big city Yanks be wearing? Like, what are those glasses? Like, they're not even cool. Okay. I'm not anti flashy sunglasses, but they like those are just weird. I don't know. Okay, what is this? Oakley made a knockoff. Yeah, of course. What is this? Oh my goodness.
5'5" on a good.
She doesn't even look at that. She's 5'5". She doesn't even fit.
Then you don't fit. So how many square feet is this?
81 and 150 from Midtown, by the way.
Midtown, but hold on. Let me just let the video finish.
650. No window, but like we're good.
You got a skylight. It's your closet. That's another closet. Stovetop area here. Mini fridge. Living room area. Where's the bed?
The bed's upstairs.
Oh, upstairs. Oh, stairs.
It's so small they don't have the room to build real stairs. They build it's basically a ladder. You have to climb a ladder to get to your bed.
So that's why I like messed up the layout.
How much do you pay for rent?
But it's at Midtown. I get to live in Manhattan. It's just like imagine being such like a superficial consumer that like to you find it worth it to live in a place like that. Like literally live in basically a prison cell. Like no space, you can't even breathe. Imagine like seeing that worth it just to live in Manhattan. But it's New York City. It's just Manhattan. A dirty, gross, chaotic, loud, just cringe place. The utter state of the millennial urbanite. Like they just find this, they're basically living in pods, but they find it appealing. Yep, they pay to live in Manhattan and hipster areas of Brooklyn so they can walk to bars. Yeah, it's just I will never understand it. I really will never understand it. Okay. But Vince, didn't you grow up in Los Angeles? Yes. Number one, now I didn't think it growing up. I was used to it. Now, every time I go back, I am overwhelmed. Let me just say that. I'm like, this is too crowded. This is too loud. This is too noisy. How did I grow up here? It's like a great mystery to me. But even so, LA is suburban. LA is spread out, which people complain about all the time. Okay. And I get it. But like, I didn't live on top of people. Like literally, like we had a house, we had a yard, and that's how a lot of people in LA live because it's spread out. Because this is more spread out, right? Like it's a suburban city. Even people who live in apartments, they don't live in apartments all on top of each other. They live in apartments in like suburban neighborhoods too, more or less. It's like it's just not everything is so like built on top of each other. But seriously, what is the fun? Like, how do people live like this? I don't understand it. And like, I get it. We're not supposed to counter signal city living because it's a LARP or it's misguided for conservatives to say, oh, go live in the country and whatnot. But I'm sorry, I am not living like this. And I will never raise a family in a place like this. Okay. It's just the truth. Like, I don't see how it's possible. Let me live in a degenerate city where people get stabbed on the subway all the time by Democrat voters, all because, and live in a place like that all because, but the experience. There's nothing to do in the country. Is that really so true, by the way? Is that really so true? Let's take your average small town. I want to say small. Well, let's not say small town. We'll say like mini city. I don't know, like Ocala, Florida, or something like that. Like how there's like 40,000 people there. Oh, but they don't have nightlife. Yeah, I guess it's not New York City. They have restaurants, they have bars, they have stuff. Like they have stuff to do. Okay, like I don't. So they have that. They don't have. Where are you gonna get groceries? They have grocery stores. You can actually drive to the grocery store and get back. Believe it or not. There are community events. Actually, they're probably better community events because you can go there and actually know people and get along with people and not be worried about getting robbed by Democrat voters the whole time. Okay, so they have that. There's a downtown part. It's actually pretty nice. I don't know. Like what's missing that they don't have in New York City, in Ocala, Florida, besides mass crime and homelessness and so much pollution, it probably gives you cancer and a constant threat of terrorist attacks. Besides that, they're basically the same. If you really want to know the truth. It's true. I think small rural cities are cool and have more order than places like New York City and LA. It's true. It's true. And the idea that there's like nothing to do out there, I don't know if that's really all that accurate. Like actually, you can go and do stuff and not be worried about getting killed all the time. Let's watch a few more of these. I know. I will live in the pod and be happy. Real. At least LA has Hollywood and cool stuff. New York City is gross and New England is the worst that New England has. Well, New York is not part of New England. Okay, that's just not true. But the draw is for young wannabe hipsters looking for clout. I guess so. I don't know. I will never understand it. I will never understand it. Okay. And before you say, I just don't get it. I grew up in Los Angeles, okay? And by the way, growing up, the LA boy, always thought, how do people live on the East Coast? It is so crowded. It is so dirty. It is so overpopulated. So I don't know if it's a me problem. Let's look at the $995 apartment.
How much do you pay for rent in New York?
Yeah, look at this guy right here. Average New Yorker, average urban urbanite. I was going to call him something else, but average urbanite, okay?
Tour of your apartment real quick.
All right, $995. So a little bit more expensive. Let's see what this person gets.
Small, but if you really want to, you can.
Yo, what up, Alex?
Welcome to my apartment.
Almost $1,000 a month. Oh, $995 a month. And Mr. Antifa over here gets a college dorm? Goodness.
How big is this?
95 square feet.
Here we go. Wow. Such a small apartment.
You're 5'9" and you can stretch out the whole thing. That's intense.
So we have the
Wow. You got so much space.
kitchen here where I cook. Also, where I'm going to kill this bug. Dining room / sort of getting into the living room.
Yeah, this is just paradise. Your head is against the wall, and oh, but I'm young. I'm getting to experience things. Really? Are you? Or is that what you're doing? I don't know.
Now we're chilling, sitting. We can watch some TV, read a book, take a nap. The master bedroom right here.
Most of the clothes are.
Look at where his TV is. Like, how does he can't even like see the TV from his bed. Like, do you see the angle? Like, he has to like crane his neck to see the TV. This is paradise. This is true. This is true World Economic Forum approved living right here.
So organized. How much do you pay for rent in New York?
$9.95.
Yeah. What were you going to call him? I wasn't going to call him anything, but I think a lot of people who live in these places, especially like this, can be properly described as rootless urban parasites. Okay, that's what they are. They are rootless urban parasites. Not him, of course. Just a general statement. So... I don't know what to tell you. It's sad. Yeah, RUPs. Yeah, let's make that a thing. The rootless urban parasites. $48,000 to live in a van. Wow, so hip, so cool.
We're going to tour a van today.
You know what this is called? This is called being homeless. Okay, this is by definition. This is called being homeless. You are homeless. $48,000 apparently to literally be homeless. But those stupid country people, it's so boring there. It angers me. RUPs, they anger me. Urban parasites are worse than the trailer trash. So true. That is so true. Okay? Vince, these hipsters all move to the suburbs eventually. I know. It just... I don't know.
Right outside the van.
It kind of feels like my own man cave. The build was
My own man cave? Yeah, you're a woman, lady. I hate to tell you that. I hate to burst your bubble on that front, but you are actually indeed a woman. But
$17,700, and the car was $31,000.
I guess this is like Van Alley in Brooklyn, where all the.
I'm appreciating my I'm appreciating my small hometown more and more. Yeah, that's true. Like for anyone who's maybe their Republican parents raised them out in the middle of nowhere, and you're bored. You feel like you just want to leave this place, get out, or whatever. Just keep in mind what we're showing you. Okay, keep in mind what we're showing you. Noah Boyd for $10 says, "Tell me your apartment number /letter, and I'll mail you a $100 super chat." I live at 1776 Real American Patriot Drive, Brandon, Florida. I Trump 2020 is the zip code. That's where I live. Okay, you can message me privately. Okay, you can message me privately. But yeah, this apartment is literally smaller than my bedroom. No, real.
Van life people live. Watch this be the wrong van. There is 2 red ones. The door's a little cracked, so I think it is. Hello, what's up?
Hi, how are you guys?
How's your day been?
Very interesting. Woke up this morning and saw a guy like peeing on the van over there, and I'm like, thank God it's not my van.
Walking in.
Ladies and gentlemen, New York City. Empire State where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Now you're in New York. Real. Vince docked himself on stream 10-7. Yes. Brandon, Florida is a real place. Okay. You think I'm joking about Brandon, Florida. It's literally that's literally a real suburb of Tampa.
It's all pink. So what prompted the theme of your van?
Taylor Swift, actually.
No way.
Yeah, when I started building it, her album was Lover at the time, and I was like just really obsessed with it, and so I went with the full pink. And then also when I was building, I got a lot of like sexist comments, like, "Oh, like who's gonna build that for you? Like, oh, your brother's gonna make that," and just I kind of was like,
Imagine saying that China, like that communist China, quote unquote, is not a free society, and people are so oppressed there, and they don't have freedom, and then like living like this. Damn Chinese. Not saying that there's a one-to-one demographic of people who are saying that and people who live like this. Just an example. Like this is I don't know. This is probably worse than a lot of people live how people live in China. And people in China live pretty bad. Like I don't know if you've seen like Chinese apartments. It's like I used to look at those and I'm like, how do people live like this? Like, it just seems like everything's so crowded. There's no space. There's no identity. And then it's like, well, that's how people in American cities are living too. So I don't even know if it's all that. How do I message you? I don't have social media. Well, I have an email. You can email me. It's on my About tab. Okay.
I want to break that stereotype of people being like, oh, you're a girl and you're building it. Like, and I wanted to make it like, yeah, I am.
Yeah, or true girl boss, guys. True girl boss. What would we do without her? What would we do without the girl boss showing that actually she's breaking the stereotype? She's breaking the stereotype of homeless people. Actually, it's dignified to be homeless. My goodness.
And I like girly things, and I also can build things. My silverware, like all my dishes, all of the water in the world, because it gets so.
I wonder why rural Americans feel such disdain for this stuff. I wonder why.
Metal box. That's my gray water, and that's my clean water. And this thing is a monster. It like screams.
Is this wallpaper that you put on top of it?
Pretty much. It's like a sticky like contact paper from Amazon on like a regular piece of plywood.
It looks like granite though, so I think it's achieving what you wanted it to be.
Good. And then I have like all my like makeup and like face washes.
It's funny, for people so obsessed with the environment, I don't see how you could live in a place that's just this dirty and disgusting. Like the air in New York City is cancer. Okay. It really has to be. The water too, obviously. People go to the New York City beach. Yeah, that doesn't sound smart. But like, I remember the last time when I was in New York in May for the event, I remember once we got into, because we drove, if you'll remember the whole story, when we got into New York City, everything was darker. It was really weird. It was really weird. I was like, this is darker. I felt like it was GTA 4 or something. Actually, like GTA 4, people say, oh, the graphics weren't good in that game, or like it felt too gloomy. It's actually very accurate because real New York City is like darker than the rest of the world. Like, I swear, like it really is. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's so polluted there that actually the air in the sky itself is like a tint darker, and like you can see it. You can see it. Vince Dow, there's no email there. There is. Go to the about section of the YouTube channel. There's a email for business inquiries. Okay, I'm fairly certain that there is. Yeah, you need to pass a robot check, but there is one there.
Stuff in there, but I covered it with like flowers to make it look like it's less messy. The Vans is a 2015, but I built it about 2 years ago. So I've been traveling in it for 2 years fast. I love Virginia. So that was important to me, even though I know it's a little bit of an extra weight to go like, save weight, don't bring everything.
Let's look at her books here. John Green. Is that the John Green I'm thinking of?
Is that what they say?
Yeah, because weight's really important, partially for gas mileage, but also the van can only hold so much. I'm glad you're not like 6'2". That's like, I think, the limit of height. My favorite thing of the whole van is probably my skylight, because I can literally climb out of it, which is partially like a safety thing also.
You have an escape. Oh, there she is. That's cool. So then you just climb up on your roof.
Yeah, I can just like sit up here and then I have the skyline.
Whoa. This is cool. You do have the best view of New York City.
It is gorgeous.
You have the solar.
She's just living in paradise, guys. It's just like, imagine not wanting to do this. I just could not imagine.
Panels up here. How much electricity does it actually give you?
So basically, I never run out of battery. Like I'm usually like an 80 to 90%.
Can I try out your bed?
Go for it.
Let's go. So
I wonder how this woman is doing with the Brandon gas prices. She's probably just completely she already is homeless, but she's probably just a Central Park hobo now. I think that's the update. I think Joe Brandon made even this lifestyle no longer affordable. She probably looks down on trailer parks. Yeah, no, real. Yeah, they're so dumb for living in trailers while she lives in a literal van. You know,
comfortable. I'm impressed.
Thank you. That was like a big deal to me.
Wow. We love Pokemon. So there's garage space.
Yeah, which is where this like bottom door goes. Yeah, like we have to crawl in it to get things.
Yeah, there's a ton of space back there though.
And 99% of the time I'm on the bed. I thought I would be on the bench, but it's just like I'm not. But this is like a 5 foot long table.
Oh, so you literally just, wow, this is sick.
I mostly do my work on here, like my small business. I mostly make my travel money from. I like make safety.
Yeah, you know, working like right here, you know, it's just so much open space to let your brain really think about stuff.
Keychains, and then I can use all this space. Like I use like an iron, I like put everything together, I like make it and then ship it out. So that's my.
You know, it's funny. I feel like she kind of looks and sounds like Brett Cooper. Like not the exact same face, but the kind of a similar voice and style going on. This is libtard Brett Cooper.
Like workspace mostly.
Does she not?
There
Does she
goes.
not remind
Yeah,
you of Brett Cooper?
interesting things whenever.
They literally have the same voice. They have the same voice and the same mannerism. That's funny. Libtard Brandon Cooper.
Can you walk me through how it's been in New York City and then like moving around for safety? Like, what is that like?
So New York's definitely interesting. I would say.
And what do you mean not really? They have the same voice. They literally have the same exact voice. I don't know.
This spot in particular, I cannot sleep past 4:30 a.m. Like someone will come do something at 4:30 a.m. That is very common. Like, but I mean full blast. Like one point, like my band was shaking because their music was so loud. I was like,
you're near a bunch of
paradise, guys. Just totally living in paradise. Who would not want to live in the city that never sleeps? Yeah, this is the Brandon Mobile, quite literally. Yeah, who would like not want to do this?
Clubs. Did you know that?
yeah. But in the morning, it's so calm and peaceful here, so I kind of just switched my sleeping hours.
And you said you
So calm and peaceful. I don't think there's a calm and peaceful spot anywhere in New York City. Okay.
You don't stay in this spot, so how often do you move?
Kind of when I feel like the vibe of me being like, I want to make sure I'm safe and like not staying in one spot too long. So maybe like 3 days max somewhere, and then I'll just kind of switch around. I think most people who live on this street in particular.
Again, just, paradise, guys. You can't stay somewhere more than 3 days with the van because some Democrat voter is going to kill you. New York City is 5 boroughs, Vince, not just Manhattan. Yeah, I've been to the other places. I don't like a single place, okay? It's all crowded. For the New York event, the event was in Manhattan. We stayed in, like, South Brooklyn, I think. I didn't like it there. I thought it was freaking crowded and horrible there, too. And then we went to, like, the based, like, Orthodox, like, Eastern European neighborhoods there. It was still, like, how does anyone live here? We went to Coney Island. It was, I mean, you don't get me wrong, it was quieter, but I was still like, this place is just horrible.
There are men, like older men, that probably don't have that concern, but like a solo girl coming out of her van is like, oh, it's a little bit.
Yeah, soak it in right now.
It's not a big space, but honestly, if I have to clean every single morning. If I don't clean every morning, then I feel claustrophobic.
Is there anything under this?
Yeah, that's my fridge and my electrical system. Simple to like access, but nothing too complicated.
Also, it's like a mini fridge.
Yeah, I mean, I have a full stove that I can set up right here. And
all right, I'm not watching. This is just making me mad. Botanical Gardens, bro. Prospect Park. I know places. All right, listen. I think I'm fine where I am, okay? I think I'm quite happy way down south in Dixie. And I think it's all right here. All right, I think it's all right here. Let me just say that. Touch grass, Vince. Oh, yeah, like what you don't have in New York City? Is that what you mean? Because it's all concrete everywhere? How about you touch grass? How about you touch like actual grass? How about that? And how about you touch grass that homeless people haven't peed on? There we go. So you can't say, "Oh, I got Central Park." Wrong. Okay. All right. Anyways. I kind of want to finish hate watching this, but I kind of don't. Okay, let's see your driving van.
I try to make it also look like there's a second person in here. So if someone does see my van, they like think because it's an empty seat that like I can have people, which is why I try to not have it be chaotic.
Is the knock like when cops come?
Yeah, they come and knock on your door. And I've had it I think 2 or 3 times. And I had it once in a Walmart. I was just tired and I was listening to music and I fell asleep and I woke up to my car being towed. Like my car was like being lifted.
Wow.
I like panic, of course. I like run to like my front seat and I'm like, please stop. He just had me move down the street. He was like, oh, you can just go park at the Home Depot. I was just like, please don't park here. And I was like, all right. I was so scared. It was not a good time. So now I'm like really vigilant.
So this curtain that
Where are her parents? They let her do this? Like, you would let your daughter do this? Your, like, 20-year-old, however old she is, daughter do this? Like, she's clearly not, like, uneducated or what. You know what I mean? Like, she seems like she has parents and stuff, and it's not, like, just a eat they hot chip girl. You know, would you let your daughter live in a van in New York City? Screw what she wants to do. Is that safe? Does that sound safe to you? Does that sound, good to you?
we set up, is this basically to close this off?
But I can see through the little star. So if someone's outside, I like put my face up to the little star and I can see who's out there.
There's a satanic symbol on her dashboard. There, what? I wasn't paying attention. Let's take a look. Which one's a satanic symbol? I don't see. She has a DeLorean. She has hearts and unicorns. Where's the satanic symbol? National parks, angels. These are just like places. What are you talking about? Is it the 42? Does that mean something? I don't know what you're talking about.
Also looked like there's a second person in here, so if someone did
Oh! Yeah, average Satanist. Yeah, it's true. Oh, okay, yes. You know, I was holding back on calling this satanic. I really I wanted to do it so. I'm not even lying. I wanted to do it so bad. I was just thinking to myself the whole time, this is satanic. This is satanic. But I'm like, I'm not gonna say that because it's just a person living a way you don't want to live. You don't need to call it Nope. What is that? The satanic. It really does speak for itself, folks. You literally cannot make this up. You literally cannot make this up. Oh my goodness.
does see my van, they like think because it's an empty seat that like I can have people, which is why I try to not have it be chaotic.
Yeah, the woman. Look, am I surprised she's a Satanist? No, not at all. I could see it in her the whole time. Oh, you probably thought she's so nice. I was like, yes, there's clearly something going on here. Okay.
Is the knock like when cops come?
Yeah, they come and knock on your door. And I've had it I think 2 or 3 times. And I had it once in a Walmart. I was just tired and I was listening to music and I fell asleep and I woke up to my car planned for 2 people and all whatsoever.
And how many more years do you plan on doing the van life thing?
I honestly can't imagine not doing it anymore. Like,
she can't imagine not doing it anymore. Let me rewind a bit.
I try to do like the best circulation I can. I have like cooling towels, but like I don't have AC. In the winter though, I have a heater.
She does not have AC. Yeah, this just sounds like a wonderful way to live.
Oh, Wabasto. Yeah, I lived in Vermont during last winter, so.
How was that?
Really, really cold. Very cold.
She lived in Vermont. Wow, like a rural place with actual space. I don't know how she did that. I feel like her satanic impulses were probably like shaking at the thought of that, you know.
Ever have company over in here?
Mostly just my boyfriend. And I started dating him like 1 month before I found
She has a boyfriend. Okay, so I mean, I assume they do like their satanic sex rituals on this bed right here. It all just speaks for itself. It really does. You know.
So none of this planned for 2 people at all whatsoever.
And how many more years do you plan on doing the van life thing?
I honestly can't imagine not doing it.
Is that the boyfriend? Of course it is. Of course it is.
Like,
whoa,
yeah,
that's
like
pretty big. We're on 4 wheels. This thing still drives, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go for a ride. You have your license, right?
Is that important?
Imagine. Wait, is she serious? She doesn't even have a driver's license.
I asked Tori if she would switch homes with me for the evening so I could experience living in a van.
Is Taylor Swift on right now?
Always.
She said yes.
Good night.
Yeah. Hey, you too. Bye.
She's like, wow, there's like an actual like apartment.
I got my pee bottle just in case I need to pee. Here we go. Here are the lights. Change that. Oh my god. Let me close this door. Good night, New York. So weird. It's like there's my home. It's like I'm in the van. I'm in the van. Wow, it's really pretty in here. It's really hot though, so. Good night, world. Because the skylight's open, I can definitely hear everything that's going by. And there's a street light up there, so it's...
This is just disgusting. It's just, I find this repulsive. My goodness. She sleeps with multiple men to help her confidence. I'm sorry, bros. What man? Okay, like what am I saying? Men are very desperate. But it's like, you know, if you were to live the Playboy lifestyle, whatever we want to refer to it as, I don't know. I would think you'd want a girl who like actually has a shower where she lives. Is that a radical take? I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it. You know, I don't do that stuff. So I couldn't tell you. I'm just, you know, I would not find that attractive. I'd be like, you live in a van, you don't shower, you're a Satanist, which, okay, pretending for a moment we're like some just secular, you know, dude, but whatever. The van is gross, frankly. I know it's like pink and whatever, but in my opinion, it actually looks kind of gross. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's probably dirty in there. Then again, I find everything in New York City to be dirty, but whatever.
Wow, it's really pretty in here. It's really hot though, so.
Oh yeah, and that too. She doesn't have air conditioning. She does not have air conditioning, and she doesn't have a shower. So she is probably like disgusting. Okay, she's probably disgusting. I don't understand how whatever. I mean, the dude is a disgusting hippie too. So why should I be surprised? Why should I be surprised?
Good night, world. Because the skylight's open, I can definitely hear everything that's going by. And there's a street light up there, so it's shining right in, kind of. It's actually pretty nice sleeping in the van. And once it cooled off, I would live in a van for a bit. It's not bad. If you want to see more videos like this, click the subscribe button. Also, watch more YouTube videos here.
All right, that's enough New York City content. All right, we had our minutes of rage, and we're done on that front. All right, but and no, it does. It gets pretty nasty, humid in the summer. I mean, it's no Florida, but like, it gets hot there. You're gonna get very sticky there. And how does she shower? Where does she use the bathroom? All valid questions. Probably public places, honestly. What a disgusting thing. Satanists don't believe Satan is a real thing. They're just edgy atheists with no father figure. Well, they worship themselves. Satanism is just worship of the self. Even the official doctrine of the Satanic Temple says that. So it's pretty, it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. We're getting out to the last segment of the show that I was going to do. They just get progressively less serious as we go through the night. But we have to discuss this, guys. There's been a lot of controversy, and I think it has to be addressed. All right. It's the question of this steak I cooked. Steak, quote unquote. Okay, let me enlarge it here. All right. I feel like I have to explain myself. All right. People saying I should be thrown in jail for this. People have said I should be executed for this. It's funny because anytime I post my cooking, people always make fun of it. Someone always has to make fun of it. But I will say it's never been this bad. The criticism I got for the cooking of this steak. So let me explain what actually happened here. Okay, so people were like, "Where's the searing? Like, why does it look so like not seared?" Well, because I cooked it on the pan in avocado oil. Okay. So it's, I actually put a little bit of butter on this for the taste, but I put it on it afterward. I didn't like sear it in butter. And then it looks decent. No, exactly. It's like, okay, so keep in mind, this is my lunch. Okay. I was just cooking my lunch. All right. So you can be like, oh yeah, it's not a gourmet steak. It was not meant to be a gourmet steak. I just posted it because it's a tradition. I post my steak, people like make fun of it. There's such a thing as pan searing. Okay, let me ask the honest question. Honest question. Why is that necessary? Don't get me wrong, it makes it better. But this was perfectly edible. In fact, it was actually pretty good. But people would never believe that. They say, number one, where's the seasoning? Well, there actually is garlic salt on here if you look carefully. But yeah, it's kind of light in the seasoning realm. I didn't want to overly season it. I don't know. I was trying to, look, here's the deal. All right, here's the deal. Last few weeks, I've been eating like junk. I've been living like junk. Okay, that's the truth. I'll admit that. I will concede that. I will surrender that. I will concede that point. I've just really been quite cringe in that regard. I've been eating out too much. I've been sleeping too late, waking up too late. I've literally been living like a like a pod liver. I've been living like, I was criticized the World Economic Forum, and I live basically the way they want me to live. Okay? So that's been me the past few weeks. And I was like, this needs to stop. You need to eat healthy. You need to wake up and go to bed at a reasonable time. You need to read the Bible every day and not just be lazy. And you need to be productive with your time. And so this was actually the start of that, the start of me, cleaning up life and whatnot. But then as a result, I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to be healthy, whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna cook my own food in avocado oil, in pure avocado oil, not in canola oil or seed oil or whatever. Cook all my food in that. And then, I'll just have like a pure, I think it's like New York strip steak. I'm just gonna eat it straight, a little bit of garlic salt, a little bit of butter, and that's the seasoning front. Okay, that's the seasoning front. But if people say, oh, it's not seared or whatever. Okay, it's a thinny little fillet of steak. Okay, like I just put it on the pan in avocado oil, waited for it to cook, and ate it. Well, I don't see what the big deal is. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't look great. I will tell you, it tasted fine. It didn't taste like the best thing I'd ever had, but for a lunch, it tasted absolutely just okay. Do you need me to go over and show how to cook? Because Cameron's coming soon and boys got to eat. Okay, well, when they come to visit, I think we're just going to get food, okay? Am I supposed to cook for him? Am I supposed to cook for that fat, you know what? He's our friend, okay? We can say it. You know what? He can find his own food. Okay, Cameron to Rami. Cameron he can find his own food when he comes to visit. Okay, all right. He didn't even drive me to the airport when I came to visit you, like he promised to. So frankly, his food situation is his situation. Okay, I will offer to. Oh, you want to get food. But I'm not cooking for Mr. Cameron F. Okay. It's just not happening. It's not happening. All right. That looks good. No, thank you. Thank you. He will find the food no matter what happens. Yeah, real. Real. Food is food. It's so true. It's so true. Okay, but let me read some of the comments we got in response to this, because I think they were quite funny. All right. All right, let's hold on. We need this. I promise this is worth it. I promise this is quite funny. All right. Let's just read some of these. So my friend Ava she just sent a throwing up emoji. I appreciate that. Charlie said, like, did you boil the steak? Yeah, what did you do? Boil it? No, I didn't boil it. Okay, I just put it on the pan in avocado oil. All right, but let's read some of these here. Aldo, remember cameraman Aldo? He now is a reporter for Next News Network. He said you deserve jail time for this. So shout out to Aldo for that one. Catholic Celine said doesn't look good. But let's go. Those are in the not so funny ones. The funnier ones are in my DM requests. Okay, so this guy's like seasoning. It's there. It's there. It still has a heartbeat. Thank you. Thank you. Shout out to Mr. R. Okay, Mr. R in my DMs who said it still has a heartbeat, because it's so true. Okay, this guy says, bro, out of love for your taste buds, please buy yourself a cast iron pan. If you're going to do steak in a pan, then butter based with thyme or rosemary, whichever is your preference, and garlic, your taste buds. My taste buds thought they were just fine. All right? I'm sorry for, being a simple human being. Okay, being a simple human being. Let's see, L steak. That's just sad and disappointing. You know what? Screw you, dude. You know what? Screw you, dude. All right. It's sad and disappointing that Vince Thau is trying to be a responsible adult and make food and not consume Uber Eats all day. This is on the same level as the NyQuil chicken. I just think that's disingenuous. No crust. That one's funny. More butter and more seasoning. It's fine. All right. What do you, sorry to be a cringe. I got to be cringe American and like douse it in salt. I don't know. Somehow it looks both raw and overcooked at the same time. WTF, Vince. Okay, that one is funny. That looks disgusting. Did you even season it? Did you just unevenly fry it on a pan? I'm begging you, please watch the video. You need to dry your steak first and heat up the pan. At least I got engagement. I have to say that. I don't think I've gotten so many Instagram DMs as of late. To this extent that are hating on the steak. So, you know, I don't know. Hold on. Okay. All right. It was food. It was edible. Looks like dead fish. I appreciate that. Yeah, you should see your steak, but even with that. So, see, he gets it. Okay? It's fine. Like, yeah, searing it adds a little extra flavor. But the idea that steak and red meat is inedible without it, what do you want from me? It's red meat not cooked in seed oil, not cooked in canola oil or whatever. All right? I promise you it tasted just fine. All right, but anyways, that's the last segment I was going to do on this show, so we can go to Q&A extra now. For people watching on the replay, I'm going to cut it off here. All right, become a member to see the full stream, and yeah. All right, anyways, we continue here. Gourmet nerds can't understand the base tongue. So true. Hey, listen, here's the deal, all right? Here's the deal. How do you know this is not a cry for help, okay? Maybe this is a secret cry for help. It's just like need girlfriend, need wife, need someone to, produce food. But in the case that it's not, accept the responsibility. Okay, how ashamed are your parents because of that steak? I didn't send it to them. I really wouldn't be able to tell you. But yeah, hold on. I need to charge my phone's on 1%. Let me go plug it in really quick. Because I don't want it to be just dead. These fools can't handle their steaks rare. Probably can't. That's probably true. Anyways, let me plug in my phone really quick. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you know what I'll do? Next time I'll just buy someone else's steak and be like, "Hey guys, I cooked this steak." All right. I'm sorry for being a real human being here, folks. All right. A real human being. Vince should move to New York City with Tammy. Who's Tammy? Was that the name of the girl who was the satanic Brett Cooper lookalike who lived in New York City? Would you rather eat Vince Thau steak or grasshopper cookies? It's so true. See, Mr. Easy, my guy, he gets it. He understands this. You can complain about the way it looks, okay? But you know what? Red meat, no seed oil, okay? So get mad at that all you want. Oh, no. But just keep that before you throw stones, before you cast dietary gourmet stones at me. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, okay? You're not eating. This is not globalist slop. This is the food that you're supposed to eat. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Who is Tammy? Sorry, but you cooked that steak the way a libtard would cook it. Oh, you mean not in seed oil? Is that how a libtard cooks steak? I don't think that's true, dude. Okay, did I cook it in bugs? Did I cook it in seed oil? No. Oh. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will end the stream here. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed the gaming segment. I'm tired. I'm kind of hungry. So we'll wrap it up here. But again, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Be sure to leave a like before you go. Hope you all have a blessed night. Alpha moves only. God bless and peace.
In leaving it, I do so with this prayer. May God's grace be with you in all the days ahead.
And it's easy to be discouraged right now, but it won't defeat God's church. Be encouraged. There are thousands of prophets who have not bowed the knee to Baal. And be encouraged. At the end of the day, the bride of Christ will be defended. She will be protected. She will be preserved. And she will be restored, redeemed, and rescued by her Savior. Amen.